Hi guys, and welcome back to Dudley Central. It's been a good while since my last video, and the main reason has been I've moved. So we've moved from a little 2-bed flat to a nice 3-bed house. The house came with a garage and a loft, so obviously I told the missus one of those is definitely going to be a train room. I did put a few feelers out a few weeks ago to see what people thought, whether to go for the garage or the loft. I was really in two minds about it actually, until I did see the loft. There's no boarding in there, and to be honest I didn't really feel like boarding someone else's loft because we're renting, so therefore the garage just seemed more of a natural environment to work in. There's less work for myself to get going as well, and actually on some of the posts I put, the majority actually said the garage. And in fact as well, when you have a young child as well, it's you don't want to make too much noise in the loft above. The garage is separate from the house, so actually I can make as much noise within reason, without waking up the little man. So actually no, I'm quite happy with the garage. I've put some inch damp membranes down on the floor, and I've started doing some on the ceiling as well, and it is much nicer to be in now. So I'm just itching to get going. So in this video I'm going to show you my track plan of what I've got in my mind. This is actually the second time I recorded this, only being that over the last few days I've really changed my mind with what I want to do, and it'd be great to get your feedback on what I'm going to show you now. So I just want to talk to you about my plans for the new layout. I've kind of come up with a new track plan, and it's based off one of the plans that Mr. Cyril J Freezer has came up with. He's got some fantastic plans in there, and I wanted to go for something which I know will work, and it should look good in the space that I've got. So I'm going to jump right in, and this is what I've got. Now I've gone for, I think it was plan number 18 in there, which is for a 16 feet by 18 foot layout. As you can see, my new layout will only be 13 feet long, so I've had to make some amendments to that there. So in the book, Mr. Freezer, he talks about how he got the inspiration for the layout. So the actual plan itself is based very loosely off Hemel Hempstead, which you can see here, and you can kind of see actually where the station and the arrangement of the buildings, how it ties in with that. I do quite like that arrangement. Hemel Hempstead is also on the West Coast Main Line, which is roughly what my layout is based on, although I'll be only having the 2-track arrangement rather than the 4, as you can see here. So I'm going to talk about the changes I've made to that plan. So obviously I've only got 13 feet, so I've had to lose 3 feet either side. The easy places to do that were along the lengths of platform. So what I've done is I've taken 3 foot away from there, which has left me with 6 feet for the station. And this is okay for me because the longest stopping train I will be having is a 5-car HST, which Virgin used to run around 2000 and 2001 when the Voyagers were starting to come on. So that should fit quite nicely. Any longer trains than that will just be shooting through, so any of the West Coast runners like Pendolinos or 90s with their Mark III rakes will just be passing through. So the only stopping trains I'll be having there will be cross-country services. So something I've kind of had an idea of is whether to link the old layouts in, and this is kind of a rough representation of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on it. But basically it would just piggyback onto this line here. Again, operationally I don't know how well that works. Those of you who know my layout, it's a minories layout, which should go off into a fiddle yard. Whether I tie it in, I don't know. The alternative could be to just keep that layout and keep it as a separate project elsewhere, and just keep this as a nice simple 2-track loop with a third bay platform there. So what I really like about this layout here is the parcels depot, which is in the corner. Now I haven't changed that from the original plan, but what you essentially have here is a passing loop. It's for the parcel service to come in from the main line here, and what I'm kind of thinking is having a class 47 with two parcels carriages, 47 to release those carriages in this loop, and then for it to move away. A little class 08 that backs out of the parcels depot, pulls those into the head shunt, and then reverses them into the parcels depot to do whatever they need to do. Once they're ready, class 08 can pull them back out, push them back into this loop, and the 47 could either pick it up from this end, take it out that way, or the other way, we can take it back out there. I quite like that. I think there's a nice bit of operational interest on that. Away from the parcels, you could also pull in a freight service into this loop, wait for an express service to go past on the main line, and then for it to carry on its journey through there. And that's onto the Fiddle yard. So I quite like the idea of that. I think I will go with that parcels depot. Obviously that loop is also accessible to platform 3 over there, and that's what I'm thinking. So something else I'll be looking to add is the bus garage, which I used to have on the layout, my older layout when I was at Liverpool Model Railway Club. I've still got the structure for that, and I've got quite a collection of buses. So something I entered this project with, a requirement was to have somewhere nice for my buses to live, and that will tie in quite nicely with the road bridge that the plan originally had. The plan is to have 4x2 boards, so that will start from here, go all the way, and again this way as well. So as we come round, I'll talk about the scenic section first before we get onto the Fiddle yard. But in this corner here, I think they're marked up as houses. Actually, for me, I'm going to go in with a castle. It's something I've always wanted to include in my layout. I think my previous layout I started doing a castle, but something that excited me about that, of course, you all know Dudley does have a castle, and actually the castle isn't a million miles away from the railway line, which was here. So it's kind of a bit of rule one maybe. But yeah, so here's the castle gatehouse at Dudley, and then I recently discovered that Metcalfe are making one that looks very, very similar. I may do some work to it to try and give it a bit more of a battered appearance. I'm quite excited to have a go at that one, and on my plan the castle will be going there. So another part of the layout is this section here. It is down as a viaduct, and it's also down as removable. I will be keeping those elements so that I can access in and out, but something I am going to change is that the original plan had the motorway going underneath. I think it was the M25, where I think it's the Western region crosses the M25. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with a canal. It suits the area better. Obviously the West Midlands has got loads of canals everywhere, and actually again locally Parkhead Viaduct, which is not a million miles away from Dudley. So there is Dudley Castle, that's where the old station used to be. So I'm going to go with this viaduct. Actually it's quite an interesting one. So when we go into 3D here, the canal has a lock within the viaduct, which I think is quite cool. So what I will be doing is the Metcalfe Viaduct, which I'm thinking I'm going to go with. So we've got 4 arches, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to go with it from this side, because you've got the lock here, and then the canal kind of veers off in 2 directions. So I think that's quite an interesting arrangement. And then we've got some kind of low relief. I say low relief. We've got some shops under the viaduct, so that'd be quite an interesting kind of bit to to model in my opinion. And then what you've also got is you've got quite a lot of trees and vegetation on the other side, and that will hide the back scene quite well. And you could also put some warehouse units behind this viaduct, and it just gives a nice sort of rural but urban feel to it, and that's what I'm going to go with on that side. As we come round, we've got some housing, I think, over that side. I might go with that, to be fair. Again, it's up for debate whether I change that, but when we come round to that area, I can always change that. Here, I've marked down an area where I'll be losing 1 foot. It doesn't really seem to be an area that will really lose a lot. It seems quite an easy win. And then I will have a road bridge at the end of the scenic section, much like at the other end. So then I will be looking to have a fiddle yard on the other side of the garage, and here it is. I will be losing 2 foot from the plan, and that will leave me with the longest road of 7.5 feet. My longest trains will be a Class 87 with Mark 3s and a DVT. I may have to have a bit of Rule 1 where it's slightly shorter than the prototypical train, but I can live with it. But the plan will be, even on this layout, is I'll have 3 northbound trains, which will be HST, a Mark 3 rake, and a freight, and then same for the southbound. I may have a look to see if I can expand this fiddle yard to possibly have 4 northbound trains and 4 southbound. But again, when I come to design that, that will be my ambition. I've also had an idea of whether I could put a small little scenic end to end just in front of the fiddle yard, maybe a little steel terminal. Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to hear your ideas on that. But yeah, this is my plan for the new layout. I'd like to hear your thoughts. My big one really is, do I keep the old layout, try and attach it to this, keep it as a separate project and have it as a nice simple layout? I'm kind of veering towards the simple run, to be honest. I think sometimes less is more, but it'd be interesting to hear what you think. So many thanks for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I'll appreciate your thoughts on where I should go forward with this. But I'm quite excited to get going on this one now, and I'll be showing you my sort of build step by step. And I hope some of the stuff I do might be useful to some of your projects out there. So, thank you. Bye for now.